Hey guys, yesterday, today again, the second part of the Sherman project is coming up after a few days. After we have finished the color design in the first part, we now come to the weathering of the model. There are many different ways to do this, but I have decided to use the traditional chipping method with a sponge. It takes a little longer than the hairspray method, but in my opinion it gives me more design freedom, it is easier to control. But let's get down to the essentials. You should be very critical when choosing the sponge. The finer the sponge, the better the chips will come out on this scale. If it is too large, they often look very unnatural. It is important to spread the sponge well after you have dipped it in paint. Try it on an old piece of paper or sheet of paper until you get really small dots. To intensify the effect a little, start with a much lighter color, in this case interior green or buff for the red areas. When using the sponge method, it's important to work really slowly and carefully. Don't press the sponge too hard onto the model, otherwise you may end up with a huge patch of paint on the model where you don't want it. That's why this process takes so long, because you really have to model this effect. This is really important to keep it in your mind. It goes so quickly that you can really overdo it. At first, it always looks a bit wild, but when the colors are dry, it looks much more natural. And all the sharp edges have disappeared by the time you blended them with oil paints. Carefully fill in the lighter areas with a really fine brush. I recommend a 5-0 size brush, as small as it gets. Shake the shipping paint well and then apply selectively. Here too, the aim is to model this effect and to make it three-dimensional. You should either use the paint with a drying retarder or wash out the brush regularly and renew the paint. All in all, it took me a whole day to set all the chips and dots, but it was worth it. After you finish the work, let the model stand for 24 hours at least, and then start with a blending effect with oils. I opted for the colors raw and burnt umber for this purpose. These give me the opportunity to reproduce the rust on the heavily used surfaces and areas. There are two application options here, either very thinly to create thin shine or a little thicker to depict heavy rust. You should also practice a little here, but the good thing is that you have enough time to correct any mistakes that occurred when using oils. Use oil thinner to create desired effect. Sometimes you will have to take several attempts or applications of paint in individual areas. Once you have done this, you will have some time to take care of the smaller things on the model, as you'd leave the oil paints to dry for at least a week and do not touch the model. It's really important, just keep in mind that otherwise you can ruin the model and you have to fix it later on. Now that I had enough time, I devote myself to the small components of the model. You can paint the sprockets with steel or silver color on the running surfaces, as the track will always keep these areas rust-free. I decided to install the angle mirrors only after I had painted them. As the components are made of clear plastic, it is the best opportunity to apply the paint from the back. As this preserves the clear effect and simply makes them look more attractive. Paint the edges with black. If you have painted a little too much, the acrylic paints will be very grateful. You can easily remove the excess paint with a toothpick without leaving any marks. So it's really easy and simple to work with. After you've painted the commander's hatch accordingly to the first part of the video, then glue everything together and install it. Set chippings and dots here too. Always remember the hatch often flies open and the commander is popping up the hatch and saying, "Hey, hello, I'm here." So it looks accordingly. Just keep in mind it's a really worn area because everything is getting in and getting out of the tank. So rust appears on all spots of the hatch. So let's come to the machine gun. I painted the machine gun with a gunmetal and the ammunition box in green color. At first I thought about painting all the parts separately, but then I decided it would be easier to paint the assembled machine gun. Paint the ammunition with a brass cardboard, the bullet heads in a copper tone to reproduce the chippings on the ammunition box. I used a small brush, 5-0 size, and the silver tone. Apply a light patina of metal, light metal with a dry brush. The last step on the machine gun. Allow everything to dry properly and apply a dark wash at the end. I hope you enjoyed it. That's it for today. Guys, see you next time. Here's the final result. Thanks for watching, and if you like, subscribe and just give me an answer.